To the 14th episode of my knitting podcast. For everybody who's new, a very warm welcome. My name is Anastasia. I am originally from Germany, but I have been living in the UK now for over 1.5 years. And in my free time, and I happen to have quite a lot of free time at the moment, like many of you, I knit a lot. So this is mainly a knitting podcast, and today I have only knitting projects for you as well. Normally I knit a lot with Icelandic wool, but today I have no Icelandic wool content with me. And yeah, I'm just gonna start straight away with a bit of live chat. I will include a timestamp here somewhere on the screen, so if you want to scroll forward, you can do that. If you would prefer, and actually that's a question for you guys, let me know, would you prefer me to do the live chat at the end of the video, so it's a bit easier for you to skip, or would you prefer, or do you like the sort of setup that I have at the moment? Yeah, I would be most grateful if you could let me know what your preference is. For me, it doesn't really make a difference. It comes a bit more natural thinking about it, that I do it at the beginning, just because I sort of like still know what I want to tell you about, but I am completely open to change that. So yeah, it was Easter weekend last weekend and I have to say, actually Easter is my favorite sort of a festivity. I like Christmas, but I don't like the whole stress around Christmas, whereas I really like Easter because you still get all the nice things about it without having to worry about, I don't know, people are so stressed about the presents. And Easter I find is normally so nice because our family gets together, we have like a big breakfast, lunch, and we just spend sort of the morning together. And so Easter, I find it a bit, yeah, more relaxing really. And of course I I love the spring and I love the summer, so another thing I like about it. But this year it was the second year that we weren't able to actually celebrate with our families, and therefore we made the best out of it, and we spent Sunday, like we had a nice brunch here at home, and then we spent the afternoon on the beach. I had in mind, actually, I got up on Sunday morning, I thought, oh, I'm just gonna make like a traditional German, like it's like a sweet yeast bread that you braid and then it looks like super nice. So I had this brilliant idea to just knock it up in the morning. I forgot about the time it needs to raise so that the yeast can get going. So we ended up having that on Monday instead, just because. But it worked out perfectly on Monday, so we had a nice second sort of Easter breakfast on Monday. Yeah, and it was just very relaxed really. It's not often that we have off on like holidays, bank holidays, normally, so that was just very nice and relaxing. Yeah, and beside of that nothing happened, so I'll start talking about my knitting. The first finished object that I want to show you is actually the one that I'm wearing, and it is called the Lazy Daisy Crop by Rachel Kurihara. I am so sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Rachel is the designer behind Rachel Knits Things on Instagram, and I think it's her second design that she is going to publish. It is just a very easy stockinette top. Her design, or her version, has a lot of daisies embroidered. I opted out to do that because the yarn that I chose is actually very, very busy. But yeah, it is just a very easy knit. It's got straps, like I cord straps, and then on the back the straps are attached fairly like on the sides. So it's quite nice, I think, in the summer to wear it. It's still a bit cold here. Actually, last week we had one day where I was sitting on the beach. Maybe I wasn't, I think I was like wearing a dress, so it was like fairly warm, and then I think yesterday it was snowing, which it hasn't snowed here for the whole winter beside of maybe one day, so it's gone very cold again. But you have to be ready. I think you have to knit your summer knits basically in springtime to be able to wear them in summer. So then late summer you can start knitting your winter knits, because otherwise you don't have time to finish your sweaters. So be well prepared, cast on your summer tops. Yeah, the pattern was really nice to knit. I just wanted something sort of mindless to knit, and it is just what I wanted. So it has got some twisted ribbing, just a bit of interest, and then plain stockinette. The decreases are super easy to work. Yeah, I like the I-cord straps. They're also super easy to make, and they worked up very fast. Really, I can't say anything but go for it if you are looking for something easy and fun to knit in between. The embroidered daisies, actually I just done one here in the corner. They're super, super fun to make, and really I would have put on more, but I think the yarn itself is busy enough, and this is going to be a present, so I will ask the recipient if she wants more daisies, and then I will embroider them. But I think it's better to ask her and then put them on afterwards, other than putting them on now and then maybe ruin the yarn when I embroider. So I'd rather ask her how she wants it at the end. The yarn that I used is a yarn that I bought sort of secondhand on Ravelry. I saw somebody destashing this yarn, and it is a Sparkle Duck Pulsar fingering weight yarn, like a 4-ply. It's 55% superwash blue face leather and 45% silk. I bought it I think like a year ago or so, just because I like the color, and I still really much like the color, but I find variegated yarn quite hard to sort of, or it's a bit harder, I find, to choose the right project for variegated yarn. After all, I think I prefer a bit more solid colors. I say that now, I might change my idea as soon as I see a nice variegated color again. The content of the yarn, it actually probably as well that the fact that it's superwash makes it very slippery, and one thing that I didn't really like about that base is that it splits super easily, so you have to be very, very careful whilst you're knitting, and that was a bit of a disadvantage with this project, was that I had to constantly double check my knitting whether I had sort of split the yarn in between, and it happened quite a few times, so I had to repair quite a few stitches. So before I finished off the top and before I started to bind off, I actually checked my whole knitting again to see whether I had missed a couple of stitches. So yes, I think it's gonna be nice to wear in the summertime because it's nice and cool. and it probably as well nice and easy to wash as well, since it's superwash. But yeah, the downside is that it was a bit splitty. I still got, I think, another bit less than a skein left, so I'm thinking of making another summer top, this time for myself maybe, but I am still thinking about which pattern I want to choose. I might do another one of these ones, or I might go for something else. I'm not too sure yet. I knitted this top with the Nova Cubics, and they have got like a cuboid shape, and I have to say they were very good to knit with, because at the moment I have a bit of pain in my forearms, so I found these ones quite nice to hold on to. They have all the like benefits of being metal needles, so easy to slip your stitches, but in the same time you have quite a good grip onto the needles. That's something I liked about them. And I used the Nova Cubics in SDPNs as well for a pair of socks that I knitted up. And I have to say again, I really like the fact that you can get quite a good grip on them. It's the first time that I used this cubit material, and so far I have to say I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, so this was a test knit, and I will insert a link down below, or I will put in the description when you can, when the pattern is going to be published. I'm not too sure. I think the test knit was going until the end of April, so I suspect probably at the end of April or beginning of May. But I will update you regarding the release date for the Lazy Daisy crop. The next finished object, I forgot to say one thing about the Lazy Daisy crop. It is really handy, because it only uses 3/4 of a skein of yarn. That is my version that I knitted a bit longer. So if you go for an even more crop version, you would even use less yarn. And that is certainly a big advantage, I think, about this project, because you can use up just tiny bits of maybe not tiny bits, but you can use like skeins of yarn that you might have used for, let's say, a baby socks or God knows, a hat or something, and then you can use it for actually a garment that you can still wear, certainly for the smaller sizes. So yeah, that is a really good thing about the top. The next finished object that I can show you is my socks from the first round of the Sock Madness. These are the Ebil Choices socks, a very interesting pattern, I have to say, and much more fun than I expected them to knit. This pattern is by Sabrina Nesslinger. She's called Senecio on Instagram and Ravelry, and I think it was one of her first patterns. So yeah, she was quite brave to go and have a pattern with one of her first patterns released with the Sock Madness, because there's so many knitters knitting this pattern. I think over 1,000 people have knitted these socks, and they are really fun to knit. So when I initially saw the pattern, I have to say I was not the biggest fan, and that is mainly because it's got a lot of purl stitches. But the pattern has a great option for everybody who doesn't like purling. And it's not that I don't like purling, but I thought I'm gonna be like very slow, especially since I changed my way of purling lately. But the pattern comes with 2 descriptions, and one description is to do it literally knit it like it is, like now, but then you have another option, and then you can knit it inside out. And that's the way I did it. So basically you have a lot of stockinette stitches, and then you cable, but you cable sort of inside. So you can't really see the cable unless you turn the sock around. But that worked so well, and I found it actually quite easy to follow as well, the pattern. So I had no problem with that. The only thing that was a bit hard, that the sort of the whole leg and the front, the upper foot, that is all charted. So especially the leg, which is I think 68 stitches for the smaller size, that was quite, maybe not hard to follow, but you had to be concentrated to not slip a row. So that was a bit of a challenge. But I had a really good tip. Who was it? I think it was Lana Filia. She's a German podcaster. She's got a German audio podcast, and she had a really good tip, or she posted a really good tip in like a German speaking Sock Madness group. And she said to mark on your chart, to mark which needles you have on which, so it's sort of like draw lines for where you have placed the stitches on your needles. And that was super good. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you because we're not allowed to show any patterns to the public in the Sock Madness. They're quite strict about that, so I can't show you the charts. But basically, let's say after you had 14 stitches on one needle, then you just draw like, I drew like a red line to mark that these 14 stitches would be on my first needle. So it was a bit easier to follow where I was on the chart. They fit super well. I didn't think in the beginning that they would fit. The leg is quite snug, but yeah, I think the mixture of having them on the sock blocker, which I haven't done, it's the first real time that I really locked my socks on a sock blocker, and as well the yarn that makes them, like this yarn is super nice, and I'm actually very happy I made a choice to buy quite a few balls of this yarn. So I used the Mondum sock by Ritazaria. It's a Portuguese brand, and I used this light pale blue. It's the colorway 114. Yeah, that is 100% wool sock yarn. It is but quite woolly, but I like it. It's quite grippy. Super easy to knit with. It doesn't split. Yeah, I can't say anything negative about this. It was really nice to use, and I'm looking forward to knit quite a few more pairs of socks with this one. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is some of you guys have said that this yarn is not that well to wear in like shoes, and that you can create holes quite easily. So I am curious how this is going to behave, but on the other hand, I'm not really wearing my socks in my boots. I sometimes wear them when I go, for example, to sit on the beach, and I wear like warm socks to keep my feet warm, but normally I don't wear my hand knitted socks outside. I usually wear my hand knitted socks when I sit on the couch. Let's see, I think the couch is not so much a risk area, so I should be alright, but I keep you updated if I have, or if I get any holes in these ones. I really hope not to, because I mean, knitting socks, even though they're quite small, it's still quite a lot of work, so I hope it wears well. In my last episode I talked about the cable needle, and literally I think on my second evening that I was knitting these socks, and actually, well, you need well, you can actually do it without cables, but without a cable needle, but some of these cables were over 7 stitches, so it is much easier if you have a cable needle. So I think on the second evening, I got up in the evening, it was dark, I was just sitting here listening to a podcast or so, and then I got up, got a cup of tea, came back, and the cable needle was gone. And I have never seen it again. And I didn't leave the house. It just vanished. And I don't know where it's gone. So someday, probably the day we move house, I will be able to find this cable needle again. I took all the cushions off the couch and my partner helped me to search everywhere. It has disappeared. So again, I went for my second favorite option and I used a tapestry needle. Oh god, I hope you say it like this. So literally just like a needle that I usually use for sewing in my yarn, sewing in my ends. Oh god, I'm missing words today. I have a day where I can't speak English. Probably not the best when I want to record an episode. Yeah. So this tapestry needle is actually super handy. I have to say, I think I'm just going to continue using tapestry needles because what I now do is I sort of place the stitches on the tapestry needles, and then to sort of park the stitches like securely, what I just did for this sock, I just sort of like stick it a couple of rows below, and I literally stick it through the fabric, and then they're securely there, they're out of the way, I can easily knit the next stitches, and then when I need the stitches again, I literally put them onto my left hand needle again, slide them back onto the needle, and then I can knit them off my left hand needle. Because one side is a bit bigger, you can't really knit off both sides, but this works perfectly for me and I'm quite happy to continue doing that. Just before I finished these socks, actually when I finished these socks and I realized that I had to send pictures, or when I was taking the pictures for sending them into the Sock Madness, or sending them to the moderators, I realized that I didn't take any picture that was showing that I was working on them. But I had already finished them both. So I literally had to undo the Ksenia stitch and take another like work in progress picture of one of the socks because I completely forgot. I was so focused on finishing these that, yeah, it didn't like come to my mind to take a work in progress picture. But luckily they got accepted. I think I took 6 days to finish them. That said, I think on the first and second day I didn't knit at all on them. Maybe just one cuff or something. But at the beginning I was still working on other things. Actually I was editing this my last episode, so I thought I finished that and then I start completely concentrated. They are mirrored, so you have a left and right sock, which I always find very nice. And yeah, a pretty sock at the end. Even though I didn't like it initially, I started to really like them. Now I'm not too sure if I'm gonna keep them or if I'm gonna go give them away. That's still, yeah, I'll see how I go on. Actually, for the moment, I want to keep all my Sock Madness socks. So the socks that I knit in the first round, and these ones I would like to keep them for, at least for the moment, until the Sock Madness is finished. And then I have to think about if I share them with some family members maybe. These are my two finished objects. The next, the next category is my work in progress. And actually, didn't do much of a progress on this one. This one is the Senecio top by Ksenia from Life is Cozy, and I'm still on the yoke. I am just about to split for the sleeves, but it is growing quite slowly, and that is mainly because I've got a lot of pain in my arms at the moment. So I'm taking a bit of a rest for my arms, and I'm not knitting that much, but I have to start putting a bit more effort into this one because the deadline for the test knit is coming up, so I know I have to work on that a bit more. There's a lot of nubs, so this is taking up a lot of time, but nevertheless it is growing steadily. I'm using like a chained alpaca yarn that I had in my stash that is working up very well. At the beginning I had a bit of problems with it, like not splitting, but it is very delicate. But the more I get used to using this yarn, the better it works. So I'm quite happy, and I'm curious how this is going to how this is going to look once it's finished. The other thing that I'm about to cast on is another test knit. Do you see a pattern there? I've started test knitting again. Oh god. It's the Poisoned Apple top that I was talking about last time by Lily Kate. So I was accepted as a test knitter, and I am just waiting for my yarn. I think I'm probably going to order it today. I say I'm waiting for it, but I haven't ordered it yet. Yeah. So I found some yarn that I like, and I hope it will be with me soon so I can cast that on as well. That's sort of my knitting part. I didn't buy anything knitting related, I think. No. And talking about a bit of like inspiration, there was one podcast that stood out for me this week, and it's the Little Monkeys and Me podcast by Fernanda. Fernanda is a lovely, well, she's from Chile as well. She's very lovely from her nature. I really love listening to her, and in her last episode I was so amazed by the amigurumis that she was showing. She did absolutely amazing amigurumis for her children, and I think also for the friends of her children's friends, which, oh my god, so much love, and they were so sweet. I almost wanted to start making amigurumis myself. That said, I actually need to make a baby gift in June, so I better think about what to make. And yeah, that is my inspiration for this episode. Other than that, I have only received a question, or actually I asked you what you would like to hear about in this podcast today in the morning, and I got one question that I want to answer. So was a question about my favorite sweater pattern and my favorite knit, and we're just going to combine this just because for me this one, the Amaruk sweater, is my favorite knit so far. It is certainly my favorite knitted garment that I have at home, and that is because of this amazing color work that I'm actually quite proud about it now. I really love wearing it outside. It's like, because it's Icelandic wool, it is very warm, and it's perfect now for in between seasons. I love to just throw it on when I basically on a bit of like a chilly spring day. You can wear that with a body warm on top. Not very fashionista, but nice and warm and cozy. And yeah, this is my favorite one, I have to say. It's not easy. It wasn't an easy knit. I think it's not something you should try if you're completely new to knitting. But if you're an adventurous beginner, yeah, I think you could give it a try. You don't have to make it a cardigan. I just made it into a cardigan, but actually this sweater pattern is written up for a sweater, so it's not supposed to be a cardigan. And I opted out to, or I decided to stick it 3 times so I could continue knitting the color work in the round, because I didn't really want to try to knit it in the back and forth. So yeah, that is certainly my favorite knitted item. Yeah, and that's it for this episode. I know, nice and short, so as a change. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any comments or anything that you would like me to talk about in my next episode, please let me know. Other than that, if you want to follow me on Instagram and Ravelry, I will insert my name as always, so you can hop over there. And that's it for this episode. I hope I see you very soon again. Thank you and bye bye.